Our life was simple then. It was a life painted in the warm colors of the morning sun. James and I lived in a small cottage nestled at the edge of a green field. A little stream whispered its secrets nearby, and the birds sang their songs just for us. I remember the smell of fresh bread I baked each morning, its scent filling every corner of our home. James would be out in the garden, his strong hands tending to the roses he planted for me. We didn't have much, but we had everything we needed. We had each other, and that was more than enough. Our days were filled with small joys, shared laughter, and quiet moments of understanding. Every evening, we would sit by the fire. The flames danced and flickered, casting long shadows on the walls. James would read to me from his favorite book of poems, his voice a low, comforting rumble. I would listen, my head resting on his shoulder, feeling the steady beat of his heart. It was a rhythm I knew better than my own. Sometimes we wouldn't speak at all. We would just sit in the comfortable silence, watching the fire and dreaming of a future that stretched out before us, long and bright. Our dog Barley would sleep at our feet, his soft snores adding to the peaceful music of our home. The weekends were our special time. On Saturdays, we would walk for miles through the rolling hills, hand in hand. James knew the name of every tree and every wildflower. He taught me how to listen to the wind and understand its stories. We would pack a simple lunch of cheese and apples and find a perfect spot under a great oak tree to eat. The world felt so big and beautiful from up on those hills. It was our kingdom, a peaceful land where only love ruled. Those memories are etched into my heart, a constant reminder of the life we built, a life worth fighting for. On Sundays, we would visit the local market in the village. The air was always thick with the smells of fresh produce and the sounds of friendly chatter. James would carry our basket, and I would choose the vegetables for our Sunday roast. He loved to talk to everyone, his easy smile making friends wherever he went. People liked him, they trusted him. He had a goodness about him that shone from the inside. Looking back, I see now how precious those ordinary days were. They were the foundation of our love, the strong, quiet roots that would need to hold firm against the coming storm. The day the letter came, the sky was a flat, unforgiving grey. I remember the postman's footsteps on the gravel path, a sound that usually brought cheerful news, but on that day felt heavy and slow. James took the brown envelope with a steady hand, but I saw the change in his eyes. He opened it carefully, his face unreadable as he read the words printed in stark black ink. The silence in our small kitchen was deafening, broken only by the ticking of the old clock on the wall. Each tick seemed to count down the final moments of our peaceful life. He didn't have to say anything. I knew. His country needed him. He looked up from the paper and his gaze met mine across the room. In his eyes, I saw a storm of emotions. There was pride, a deep sense of duty that had always been a part of him. But beneath it, I saw a profound sadness, a sorrow for the life we were about to leave behind. He walked over to me and held me close. I buried my face in his chest, breathing in the familiar scent of wood smoke and earth. We stood like that for a long time, two souls bracing for the inevitable. The world outside our windows suddenly felt distant and unreal. Our quiet sanctuary had been breached by the loud call of war. That evening, we didn't sit by the fire. We walked instead back to our favorite spot on the hill, the place where we had shared so many dreams. The wind was cold enough, whispering not of stories, but of farewells. James held my hand, his thumb stroking my knuckle. He said, his voice quiet but firm. I nodded, unable to speak as the wind. His unwavering sense of love. But my heart ached with fear so sharp it felt like his breath. I wanted to scream, to beg him not to leave me. This was who he was. He was a man who would stand up for what he believed in, a man who would not take others with his second thought. As I held onto my hands and felt his strength. His breath, it was a promise of hope, a fragile shield against the uncertainty of the future. The day of his departure was a blur of hurried goodbyes and brave faces. I stood on the crowded station platform, a sea of tearful families around me. The train hissed and groaned, a great metal beast ready to swallow up the men I saw. When it was time, James kissed me one last time. It was a kiss full of love, promises, and the unspoken sadness of our parting. "Be brave, my love," he whispered, his hand cupping my cheek. "I will," I promised, forcing a smile. I watched him climb aboard the train, his figure becoming just one of many in a uniform of khaki. The train pulled away, and I stood there, waving until it was just a small dot on the horizon. My world became quiet after he left. The cottage felt too big, too empty. His scent lingered in his clothes, on his pillow, a ghostly reminder of his presence. The first few weeks were the hardest. Every sound made me jump, thinking it was him returning. Every morning, I woke up expecting to see him beside me. I had to learn to live a new life, a life of waiting. I kept busy, tending to the garden with extra care, making sure his roses were perfect for his return. I wrote to him every single day, just as we had promised. I told him about the village, about Bali, about the small, everyday things, hoping to send him a piece of home. His letters were my lifeline. They arrived in worn, dirt-stained envelopes, carried across miles of land and sea. His words were not filled with the horrors of war, but with his love for me. He wrote about the stars in the foreign sky, telling me he looked at the same moon as I did. He described the camaraderie with his fellow soldiers, men who had become his brothers. He told me he carried my picture in his pocket, and that looking at it gave him strength. Each letter was a treasure, a precious connection that bridged the vast distance between us. I would read them over and over, his words a balm to my anxious heart. I found my own way to support him from afar. I joined the other women in the village, knitting socks and scarves for the soldiers. We would gather together, our hands busy, our voices sharing news and offering comfort to one another. There was a silent understanding between us, a shared bond of hope and fear. We were an army of our own, an army of wives, mothers and sisters, fighting our own battle on the home front. We fought with needles and thread, with letters of love, and with the unwavering belief that our men would come home to us, safe and sound. Months turned into a year, and then another. The seasons changed, the garden bloomed and faded, but our love remained constant. It was a steady flame that no distance or danger could extinguish. We lived in our letters, our words crossing the miles to keep our spirits entwined. I sent him pressed flowers from our garden, and he sent me sketches of the landscapes he saw. We were two people living in different worlds, yet we were never truly apart. Our shared memories of our life together were a sanctuary, and our hope for a future reunion was the anchor that held us steady in the storm. We were learning that love was not just about being together, but about holding on when you were apart. There were days when fear was a cold, heavy blanket. Bad news would travel through the village, and my heart would stop with every knock on the door. On those days, I would walk to our hill and read his letters again. His words, full of courage and unwavering love, would chase the shadows away. He wrote of his dreams for our future, of the children we would have, of growing old together in our little cottage. His hope became my hope. His strength gave me strength. I knew I had to be strong for both of us, to keep our home warm and waiting, to be the beacon he could see from far away. Then, one bright spring morning, a different kind of letter arrived. It was not his usual worn envelope. This one was official, but the news it carried was not of duty but of return. The war was ending. He was coming home. I read the words and tears of joy streamed down my face, washing away the years of worry. I ran out into the garden, my heart soaring higher than the birds in the sky. Bali barked excitedly around my feet, sensing my happiness. The world, which had seemed so grey for so long, was suddenly bursting with vibrant colour. The sun felt warmer, the air smelled sweeter. James was coming home. Our reunion was not on a crowded platform, but on the quiet path leading to our cottage. I saw him from a distance, walking towards me. No longer a soldier in a uniform, but my James. We ran to each other, and when he held me in his arms, the world finally felt whole again. The years of separation melted away in that single, perfect moment. We had weathered the storm. Our love had been tested by war and distance, and it had emerged stronger, deeper, and more resilient than ever before. We walked back to our cottage, hand in hand, ready to begin our life again, with a future as bright and hopeful as the dawn of a new day.